Why did I see this movie? Yeah, this is one of those movies I was totally planning to skip. You know, there's just some movies that come out and I'm just like, you know what? I don't even want to waste my time reviewing them. I feel that way for Norm of the North because I know it's going to be bad, but I feel like I need to review that because it looks so much like an atrocity. But Dirty Grandpa I was willing to completely skip, but my cousin and my dad really wanted to see it. They were going to go on Tuesday. It was only $5 for a movie ticket, so I'm like, you know what? I'll tag along. I can review it now. Easily the worst movie of 2016 that I've seen so far. So what is Dirty Grandpa about? Well, let's see. It's about Zac Efron's character, who's a lawyer. Very straight up, serious person. Doesn't party, doesn't do anything like that. Well, his grandma has died and his grandpa is grieving. He wants to go to Florida because they always went to Florida together. But he doesn't have a license, and so Zac Efron's character has to bring him to Florida, even though he's about to get married. But Grandpa has some ulterior motives. Yeah, he wants to go to Daytona to get with all the spring breakers and wants to have sex with a girl. That's his ultimate goal in life, is to have sex right after his wife has died. Great goals, Grandpa. And so he forces Zac Efron into this situation to be his wingman. Of course, there's a little more to it than that, but that's basically the main plot of the movie. Well, what good can I say about Dirty Grandpa? Because surely there's got to be at least something good. There's very little movies out there where I can't find a single good thing about it. So what's the one thing that's good about Dirty Grandpa? It's Zac Efron and Robert De Niro. They've both proven themselves as good actors, and they are really good in this movie. Granted, I didn't like the characters that much, but I thought that they acted really well, and when it came to the drama part of the movie, when it came to more dramatic and actually sad moments, they did really well together, and they did do a really good job at acting those scenes. They are pretty much the only reasons why this is not getting a 0. You know what? Actually, there was one other scene in this movie that I thought the situation was funny. It was ironic. It was just kind of... It was fun and funny in its weird, crude, and really perverted way. There's a moment, if you've seen it in the trailer, Zac Efron is pretty much naked except for a bee in his crotch area. Like a big stuffed bee. And after this party, he wakes up hungover, naked on the beach with just this bee. And of course, as he's hiding behind these trash cans and trying to FaceTime his soon-to-be wife, because she wants to get all these plans in order for the wedding and the rehearsal and all that kind of stuff, this little kid on the beach just comes along and wants to pet the bee. Well, of course, you know where the bee is. That was actually kind of funny in its weird, perverted, just really ridiculous way. That was the only thing I legitimately laughed at. Everything else couldn't stand. Now, there are times when I did laugh in this movie. Rarely was it ever a time where I actually thought it was funny. Let me explain. There are moments in this movie, there are lines said in this movie that I laughed at, not because I thought the lines were funny, but rather they were coming out of Robert De Niro's mouth, and the fact that they were coming out of Robert De Niro's mouth just made it all the more ridiculous, and I'm just like, I can't believe he's actually saying this. I can't believe they got Robert De Niro to say this kind of crap. It's mind-boggling. Why are you two in this movie? I mean, I can understand Zac Efron because he did Neighbors. I mean, this is sort of like another Neighbors, but way, 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 way worse. Like, Neighbors was actually good. I liked it. And Neighbors 2 looks like it's going to be even funnier than the first. Hopefully, that's true. But this movie just plain sucks. I can't think of what's worse about this movie. The fact that it's crude just to be crude and just to be shockingly crude. Or the fact that all the characters are freaking annoying. I'm not talking about the two main characters. They were actually, despite me not liking the characters, they were a little better because they were definitely acted better. The rest of the characters just like, I could do without them. Sure, the love interest with Zac Efron, her character was pretty good and she was acted well, but all the other side characters in this movie, the one that he's engaged to, the drug dealer, the cousin, the friends of the love interest, they were all just awful. Just so freaking annoying. I can't really pick which one was more annoying. They were just so bad. Oh, and guess what? I just saw an actor that's in 2 January movies now, because he was in Diablo and he's in this one too. And it's Danny Glover. Danny Glover has 1 scene in this movie, just like he has 1 scene in Diablo. God, poor Danny Glover. But yeah, to get back at those annoying side characters, I can't decide who was worse. There was the annoying drug dealer that popped up everywhere, and he's not trying to be, because he's obviously just being this annoying character, but it's almost like, oh, you know what? The night before had a drug dealer pop up every so often. Let's have our drug dealer pop out of nowhere and just be part of the community, and it just, oh, God. It really worked for the night before, but doesn't work here. Then there's the cousin to Zac Efron's character that just, everything he says is just completely just terrible, Then there's the slutty friend of the love interest who, okay, not only is she this overly slutty character that just has no depth to her whatsoever, just feels like, okay, just, you're not really funny. It's supposedly funny because she's a slutty character and that's the only reason she's funny. But she also just looks like she doesn't want to be in this movie at all. Now, I don't know if that's meant to be what the character feels like or the actor was really going for that, because, you know what, she really looks like she doesn't want to be in this movie and she's just here to read her off her lines. Literally, there are scenes in the movie where it looks like she's just reading off a line and just like, okay, can I get my paycheck now? Like, there's this one time where they discover that Robert De Niro and Zac Efron lie and something like that. There's this lie that's divulged and the secret is out. And there's this one moment where the slutty girl goes, not even looking at the camera, she's like, oh my God, you lied. Like, it's like that. It's that bad. That's not the exact lines, because I'm sure there was curse words in there somewhere, and I don't even remember the exact line. I just remember that was like paraphrasing it, like, oh my God, I can't believe you lied, but just like, oh my God, you lied. Like, whatever. Kind of leave now. Then the cops, you know what? They're probably the most annoying thing in the movie for me. The 2 cops, and it's not like a lovable, dumb cops. It's like on the border, well, over the edge of being just completely dumb, annoying, just terrible people. They're good friends with the drug dealer and they let him out, and just like, there's just all these just terrible things, and just like, there's a line between dumb, lovable characters that actually are funny when they're making fun of cops and stuff, rather than just being completely annoying, just terrible people that just I can't stand in this movie whatsoever. They cross that line. It's just this one big, dumb, overly crude, just, if you like that kind of humor, then you might like Dirty Grandpa, but there's really nothing new and nothing really good about it. Even the times when it tries to go heartfelt and tries to be dramatic, like Zac Efron and Robert De Niro, they try their best. God love them, they try their best and they do a good job, but the movie doesn't feel like it's earned that heartfelt, dramatic moments that are randomly in the movie, because the rest of the movie just plain just And then there was one other scene that I probably could have laughed at, because it does seem like it could have been funny, but then it goes way too long and it's towards the end of the movie. Okay, before I get into it, spoiler alert, but it's very predictable anyway. You know how this movie's going to turn out. You know from just the first scene alone of the person he's engaged to, you just know that Zac Efron's character is not gonna be married to this girl because she's so controlling and she wants everything so perfect and she gets annoying. Like, literally, one of the first scenes she's in the movie, they're at the funeral to the grandma and everyone's paying attention, everyone's sad that this grandma is dead, and she's whispering to Zac Efron and looking at her phone. She's like, okay, which tie is better for you? Salmon or this other color red? I can't even remember what it was. And she's like going on, is like, well, it's just either one's fine. Well, I need to know the answer. As his funeral's going on, she's like, we need to know what ties to get for the wedding. We need to know the ties. Pick a gosh darn frickin' color. But anyway, during the dinner or rehearsal, I can't remember what it is technically, but they do this song together. Zac Efron's up in the balcony, she's down below, and then some pictures happen and stuff, and he realizes this is not the life for him, and so his mic goes off so he can't tell her, so he's like, okay, pass this news on that I can't be married to her. And so it becomes like this telephone line because the guy doesn't want to get up and tell her, this other guy, that he's saying, hey, cousin, tell her what that it's off. Tell her that the wedding's off. And the cousin's like, okay, uncle, and tell her that it's off. But then the uncle is deaf, and so he's like, goes to another uncle, but he has this throat thing where it's like and it just becomes a nuisance as they're trying to explain. Okay, well, I'm afraid to pick anyone else in our family because they might have another deformity or something that keeps them from speaking to her. Why didn't Zac Efron just yell then? Because he's pretty much yelling to the cousin, and it makes it out that this room is so huge that you can't hear him even when he's yelling because they're all the other opposite sides of the room. But you can almost see it through her perspective, and you can still hear Zac Efron. So why can't she hear it? It goes so long that it just becomes unbelievable. It goes on so long that we realize this doesn't make any sense. Terrible, god-awful movie, and I wouldn't wish it on some of my worst enemies. But I can't give Dirty Grandpa a 0 because I thought Zac Efron and Robert De Niro did a good job, and there was one scene where I did think was legitimately funny. So because of that, I'm going to have to give Dirty Grandpa half a star. Worst thing I've seen in 2016 so far, but like I said, I haven't seen Norm of the North yet, and I know that's going to be even worse. Once it comes on for free, once I can see it for free, I'm seeing it. Not paying any money for that. So, did you see Dirty Grandpa? Did you think it was one of the worst comedies you've ever seen? Did you actually like it? Go ahead and comment. What's your thoughts? I hated it. If you haven't seen Dirty Grandpa, then what is the worst crude humor movie you've ever seen? Like, movies where it's just all crude humor. What is the worst one you have seen and just couldn't stand whatsoever? Anyway, as always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was just my opinion.